Shoshana, a proud former Michiganite, left corporate treasury management to follow her passion for philanthropy and impact making. She is the executive director and co-founder of Tikvah Chadasha Uganda, which engages Jewish communities in the United States and Uganda to work for gender justice, disability access, and educational opportunity as human rights. Being immersed in Ugandan Jewish community since 2018, she applies unique insights into its needs and effective ways to address them in a sustainable way. Shoshana graduated from Cal State University, Los Angeles, with a degree in finance and economics. She has been named as one of the 10 Jewish women leaders by the Jewish Federation of New York. Wow, mazel tov on that. So without further ado, let us introduce our former Michiganite, who we remember being a little, and her dear mom, Sandra. So it's so good to have you here with us. Take it away.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it so much. I want to thank you for inviting me to speak. It's really meaningful for me. And I want to just keep the conversation going. So my wonderful colleague, Nina, so she does a lot of our video editing, our emails. She also does some graphics and communications for our organization. So she's going to be asking some of you for your email addresses in the chats.
Okay, Shoshana, you're on. Tell us about your journey from Mishkan to where you are now. We want to hear that.
Yes. Okay, so my journey is very very interesting. So sure. I went from Los Angeles to Dallas to Los Angeles to Dallas to a tiny village in eastern Uganda. So
how did you choose to go to Uganda?
So my husband's originally from Uganda. And so how it happened was I first got connected with a Jewish community in Uganda thanks to the community's rabbi, Rabbi Gershom Sizomo. He went to the Ziegler Rabbinical School in Los Angeles. And we met each other at a wonderful Hanukkah party. And so at that Hanukkah party, everyone wanted to know his name. It was almost like a line just to shake his hand. And we never forgot the community or the rabbi and his amazing name, Gershom Sizomu, like no name we've heard before. And so several years later, when Facebook comes along, of course I gotta get this amazing rabbi from Uganda on my Facebook. And some even more years passed, and we had I would always look at the rabbi's Facebook page. He would post these amazing inspirational quotes and beautiful pictures from festivals that the community was having. And sometimes I'd make a comment, "Oh, that's a great picture." And there would always be this guy replying to my comments on the rabbi's Facebook page. And I said, "Who is this? Who is this guy?" Well, we started chatting on thanks to Facebook. One thing led to another. I came to Uganda, then he came to America, then I came to Uganda again. We decided that we wanted to, we got to know each other very well. Decided we want to get married. Um, and so we ended up having two marriages, one civil marriage in America and one religious wedding in Uganda. And then, then the plot thickens. I found out that I was pregnant. Oh, but then another plot twist came. Coronavirus. And we were so naive. We did not understand what we were dealing with. My husband had the plan to come back to America after Pesach. And when the lockdown came to Uganda, it came down hard. And so for the first 10 months, the borders and the airports were closed. And my husband could not leave Uganda. No one could get into Uganda and no one could leave. But when it happened at first, they said, oh, 3 weeks. It's only going to be 3 weeks. But then it was another 3 weeks and another 3 weeks and another 3 weeks. And then, my husband was not able to come back to America for the birth of our son. And, it was just an emotional roller coaster for all of us. Because we didn't know, the officials kept promising, oh, we're just a few moments away from opening the country again. Uganda had the borders and airports closed for 10 months. When Uganda finally opens the borders at this point, my husband tries to come back to America, but then it's America that has blocked several visa types, one of which was my husband's. So my husband can't come back to America. So what do we do?
Even though you were married in the United States, you have a United States marriage license and everything, he can't come.
Correct.
Your husband's name,
just because you're married doesn't mean you have a visa.
Right, would you repeat your husband's name, please?
Yes, his name is Israel. And so we had no choice. If we wanted our family, if we wanted my husband and my son to meet each other, and we wanted our family to live under the same roof, we had to move to Uganda. And that's what we did. But so far it's working out. We love it. We've stayed. And it's been a really beautiful experience. And we've been able to do a lot of good for the community and for our family. And
how old is your son? How old is your son and what's his name?
My son is 4 years old now.
Wow.
Yeah, he goes to school. He's a school kid with a backpack and a uniform and everything.
What's his name?
His name is David Abraham.
Oh wow, David Abraham.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I missed that. How old is he?
4.
4.
4. He was born May 2020 at the height of the Balagan.
Wow.
Yeah, talk about good timing, right?
Yeah. God.
Is he bilingual? Does he speak Ugandan and English?
Yes, he does.
And you've learned Ugandan? I don't know how you say the name of the language.
Or Swahili?
Well, so the official language of the country is English, actually.
Oh, okay.
But there are several tribal languages And the tribal language of our family is Lusoga, Lusoga, Lusoga. And so I have learned some phrases from my father-in-law and other relatives. So the Basoga tribe is the second largest tribe. And so the vast majority of Jews are either from the Basoga tribe or from the Bagwere tribe.
Oh.
Yeah. And so, what is that?
So
Let
how
me-
did Judaism, you're maybe going to talk about this anyway, but I gather your husband was Jewish when you met, but how did Judaism come to Uganda?
Yeah. So the Jewish community of Uganda has a very different origin story from other Jewish communities. So, so 200 years ago, when the British came, they brought many things. So they brought their school system, they brought their court system, and they also brought the Anglican version of the Holy Scriptures. But of course, there were problems. One of the problems was that the Holy Scriptures say don't work on Saturday, and the British worked on Saturday. Holy Scriptures say what animals to eat and not to eat. The British ate whatever animals tasted good. The Holy Scriptures say which festivals to celebrate. The British didn't celebrate any of those. And so, one of the leaders, he was a very thoughtful and enterprising man. He said, hey British, what are you doing? And they told him the people who are living according to the Holy Scriptures are the Jews. And then he said, I am a Jew. And so he and his followers began learning more about Judaism, began practicing. Eventually, some Moroccan traders came into the area and taught even more Judaism. So Ugandan Judaism is very influenced by the Sephardic tradition. And so, yeah, the Jewish community grew from the followers of Semei Kakangulu, the man who protested the British and said, "I am a Jew." It's a very different origin story from many Jewish communities. So far there have been 6 or 7 generations of Jews in practicing Jews in Uganda. There, and so even though you may have heard that the community members had conversion ceremonies in the 90s and 2000s, as different, Beit Din of rabbis would come to visit the community. These are conversion ceremonies of people who have been practicing Judaism for many generations. So these are people whose grandparents were practicing Jews. Okay, so it's not conversion in the same way as my parents' conversion, for example. Okay, that's one of the misconceptions that some people have about the community, that, they converted in the 90s. Yes, but it was for legalistic reasons, not because these were people who didn't live or feel Jewish already. Okay. Yeah. Yes. What other questions do you guys have?
Can we see some of your pictures? Maybe, I don't know if you can do it.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Let's see what we can do. So,
Oh, and how did you come to start this charity? I looked up the website on my phone really quickly. It looks like a really wonderful charity.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So the charity was originally my husband's idea. So because there's some kids in our region that have disabilities, you know, whether they use wheelchairs, you know, they have certain conditions, you know, epilepsy or you know, hydrocephalus or you know, even polio. And there's no nonprofit organizations that are working to address kids with these needs. And then also, you know, after we started the organization, we realized that another one of the underserved populations in our community is impoverished women. And so one of the things we also do is we build chicken farms for Jewish women so that they can make money from home. And these women are really, really special people. They're moms in our community who otherwise have no other income and no other job, and who can only make money by working in the vegetable fields and doing hard farm work all day, and they get only $2 a day. $2 a day for a whole hard day of farm work. It's really difficult. And so when we build a chicken farm for a woman, it's so great because she's able to get an income with less work, more money for less work, and she's able to have more energy to help her kids, care for her home. And, you know, mind you, these are people who, many of whom have to walk to their village water pump to, you know, fill a yellow jerry can with 10 liters of water and walk it back home. Okay, so that they can hand wash their family's laundry. These are not women that have all of this extra, you know, strength to spare. And so when we make these projects, it really benefits the whole family, and it's the one thing that we do that helps families the fastest. And I'm really proud of it. I want to do more of it.
Do they sell the eggs too, as well as the chickens themselves?
So we haven't been doing egg laying hens. So just because the margin of error is pretty narrow, it takes longer. It takes longer to see a profit. It takes longer to get good at doing it, because if there's any kind of stress, the hens won't lay, but you still have to keep feeding them.
Okay, thank you for explaining. I wasn't aware of those nuances.
So it's possible to lose money with the egg layers, whereas with meat chickens, also called like broiler hens, you know, it's hard to lose money.
Oh, give us a chance. We'll work it out.
Do you live in a village, or are you like in a city area? What's your neighborhood like?
Definitely a village. I definitely live in a village. Yeah. And so it's a very diverse place, all different kinds of people. You have doctors that own their own medical clinic, and you also have the poorest of the poor in our village. You have people who live in a, you know, pretty standard house like I do, and you have people who literally live in a mud brick hut.
Yeah.
These women the chicken farms, are they single moms? Are they widows? Where's the men?
So, um, some are single moms, some, most are married. But just, husbands don't earn a lot of money. Uh, families run big here. And so it's typical for a family to have 5 kids. Um, uh, Sometimes even 6. And so with that many mouths to feed, the, the lifestyle is not, up to the standard that a lot of us would want for them. And so that's, these families do need some extra help. And so, when we're able to do it, it's really, really good.
So
Shoshana,
go ahead, Lonnie.
what kind of work does your husband do?
My husband's a civil engineer for the city of Kampala. So my husband works about 5 hours away. And so he comes home on Friday mornings uh, and spends the weekend with us here at home, and then early Monday goes on back to Kampala.
Now, is there a Jewish community in Kampala?
So there is a little Jewish community. So most of the Jews are from the east of the country, but then there's been a slow trickle of Jews, thanks to the universities that are in the capital. After graduation, many young Jews end up wanting to stay in the capital just because there's so many more professional opportunities. So there's been a slow trickle of Jews staying in the capital. And so they had a young adult university focused Jewish group. But as they've grown up and started young families, then it's taking on more of the shape of a typical synagogue. And so there's 2, and also there's a Chabad house in the capital as well. Yeah, of course, there's probably going to be a Chabad on the moon, right? So now the relationship with Chabad is different because the Chabad rabbi, he does not recognize the Ugandan Jews as Jews.
Terrible.
And so the relationship is not a typical relationship.
It's unfortunate.
And so they don't attend prayers at Chabad. Chabad is mainly for purchasing matzah or purchasing kosher wine, maybe a few other odds and ends
Do you know
throughout the
why they
year.
don't
But
do you know why they don't recognize the Ugandan Jews as Jewish?
I think that the Chabad rabbi has a kind of colonialist type of mindset where
Terrible.
it's, we the Jews are gonna teach those Africans what the real Judaism is.
Terrible.
I have 2 questions. One is, have you thought about moving to the city where your husband works? And the other is, when I was studying African drumming and I would attend concerts of Ugandan drummers, it was just ecstatic. Have you been involved with that at all, or listened or participate?
Yes, we do have a local drum circle that we love so much. There's a few of them. Yeah, we do love it, and Ugandans take a lot of pride in their traditional music culture.
Yeah.
yeah, it's really wonderful. It's really wonderful. As far as have I thought about moving? So our first 9 months in Uganda, we lived while our house was still being built, we rented a house in the capital. But the house we live in now, uh you know, it's our house. We own it outright. It was built on land that my husband's family already owned. And so, you know, not having a rent payment is really nice.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know. But also the capital is very busy and very hectic. So I don't know if we're going to. I don't think that we're going to move back. In any kind of permanent way. We might rent something, you know, if we have a project that keeps us in the capital, but I don't think we're going to on a permanent basis.
I don't blame you.
So your husband rents a real cheap little place in Kampala when he
Yeah.
So Shoshana, you were talking about disabled kids and women that need economic support. Are there other groups that Tikvah Uganda works with?
Yeah. We also support our local synagogues as an organization.
I was going to ask
So-
about that, the local synagogue and what it does.
Yeah, so in our village, there's 2 synagogues. One, you know, and that's one thing about the Ugandan Judaism is that the lines between Orthodox and conservative are not nearly as important as they are in America.
Good.
So when
Good for you.
when you go into what is on paper the conservative synagogue in our village, outside of the 5 times that a woman wants an aliyah, you will not know that it's a conservative synagogue. When you go into the Orthodox synagogue, it looks and feels and sounds the same as the one that's supposedly conservative. And so
What about gender separation in seating? What are the two?
Yes, we do have that. So men and
in
women
both
sit in
synagogues.
separate. Yeah, men and women sit separately in Ugandan synagogues. And the melodies are so wonderful, glorious.
They're
I
very
say.
special, aren't they? I
Yes.
understand that when Gershon was at AJU, he either gave a concert or he would sing like his special version of Adon Olam, or they're very different than the melodies that we grew up with, that you grew up with in Mishkan. Is that correct?
Yes. So there are a few melodies that are the same, but most of them during the prayer service are different, and they're really, really nice. Yes, I invite all of you to come. You all can stay in my guest room. If you come and stay with me, you'll have your own bedroom and your own bathroom.
Wow, thank you.
Shoshana, it sounds like you have a sizable Jewish community if you have 2 synagogues. And maybe you could talk a little bit about that. And this is in the village you're living in, or is this in?
No, the village.
Yes, in the village that I'm living in. So yeah, there's 2 synagogues, but in total there's in total there's 15 synagogues.
What? Is it a mostly Jewish community?
Well, wait a minute. Are you talking
so
total Uganda or?
So mostly in the eastern region, of Uganda is where the Jews are all from. And then, so there's 13 in the eastern region, and then there's two in the capital, plus the Chabad.
I would
Are they
say
So
mostly
16.
Caucasians or, you know, or Black Ugandans that are members of these synagogues?
So outside of Chabad, yes, these are native indigenous Ugandans.
Ah, good.
Yes,
Nice. Wow.
yes.
And I have
Yeah.
a question. At the Orthodox synagogue, do the women get to pray and sing out loud as well, or just the men?
No, yes, women can sing.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, women do sing. Women sing. We all sing together. There's so the teaching is that when we're all singing together, there's no issue with Kol Isha, Kol Ve'isha Erva. We all sing together. It's fine. It's not indecent.
So
Has
do
your
they have a,
Has your mom come to see you in Uganda and her grandchild?
Yes, she has. Yeah, she's come several times and she loves it.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
That's
she's come
amazing.
several times. She loves it. Yeah, it's really wonderful.
So
Uh,
do you support, I mean, when you say that your organization supports the temple, in what way? I mean, is there a preschool like for your son? Do they have that available to teach the kids? And how do you support the temple from your organization?
Yeah, so with our so we do this in a couple different ways. So one way that we do this is every time one of us comes back from America, we will bring a separate suitcase of humashim or sidurim. As a matter of fact, in the synagogue that's closest to us, half of the humashim are from Mishkan Tefillah. Originally purchased by Avery Crute.
Wow. That's great.
Yes.
How did that happen?
And,
Who did you do that through? That's amazing. I don't remember it ever being a Mishkan project, but what a great idea. Do you remember who was it Avery or who was the contact that helped you with that?
No, so the rabbi, also a lady named Donna Malamud.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we know who that is.
So the humashim are so important, you know, to really connect with the Torah in an accessible way. And also, let me drink a little water. Sorry. We have different brands.
Okay.
Can't see the label. Oh, there it is. Kind of blurry.
Sorry. So in our region of Uganda, the median household income is $325 per month. And so you know, $90, you know, to purchase and ship a chumash is out of reach for the vast majority of families in our area. And so when we you know take these, it's, you know, it makes a big difference. And so all of the humashim and sidurim at almost all the synagogues here in Uganda have been donated by really amazing Jewish communities in America. But it's not enough for a community just to donate the books. Someone has to bring it over. And so that's one of the things that our organization does, is we raise the money for the luggage fees for the Kumashim. And also we also bring Talitha, the Talit.
Wow.
And also as gifts for bat mitzvah kids, we'll give a mezuzah, because that's also something that is not easy to come by in Uganda. Another thing that we do with our synagogue is we'll help sponsor the holiday meals. And so that's something that is really special to us. And it's a benefit for the whole community. It's really, really special. So Passover is a great time. It's the most observed holiday among the Jews of Uganda. Attending the Pesach dinner at the synagogue is I would say even more well attended than Rosh Hashanah.
It's more fun.
Yeah.
That's not surprising. That's true everywhere.
But that's good.
Okay.
That's good. I'm in favor of that.
What about schools? What about schools, Jewish schools for the kids? Anything going there?
Yeah, so there's a Jewish primary school, and then a Jewish high school. And those are both up in the mountains, up these steep, lumpy, bumpy dirt roads with tons that are steep, narrow, and winding. And by the time you get there, you're tired. You just got there and you need a break.
How many people live in your village, and are they all Jewish or no? It's a mixed group.
Yeah, so our village is about 1/4 Jewish. There are some villages that are half Jewish, like the village of Namutumba. That village is about half Jewish. The village of Nabugoya is also very Jewish. I would say, half Jewish. So Jews have a sizable presence in many villages, but are not a majority.
Yeah.
But we punch above our weight though.
But
that's amazing.
Half of what, or a quarter of what? How many? What's the total population of those villages, roughly?
Okay, so like the village of Namutumba might have like 4,000 people.
Is that your
and then
village?
half of them are
Is that your village?
No, my village is called Naseni.
How do you spell that?
Naseni.
And how big is your
Naseni.
village? How many people?
My village is smaller. It's about 2,000.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what
It's
about
smaller?
you, Shoshana?
Oh, I'm sorry, say that again?
Do you have Torahs? And if so, I assume you do. Where do they come from, or who created them, or what?
Yes. Yes, our synagogues do have Sefer Torah. So many generous communities in Israel and also in America have thankfully donated the Sefer Torah to the different synagogues. I'm not aware that any synagogue doesn't have one. They're in different states of wear and tear. But yeah, I'm not aware of any synagogue that doesn't have one. As a matter of fact, a young man that I know of just brought a Sefer Torah back from America back in August. A really great community down in Fort Myers, Florida.
Hmm.
Getting one recently.
Wow.
Yeah.
So are there ways
Yeah.
in which you see Mishkan connecting to your organization? I mean, how can we best spread the word or help you out? What do you envision, Shoshana?
Oh, well, so if you guys wanted to sponsor a volunteer day, that would be amazing. Amazing. So one of the things that our organization does is we host a Jewish community volunteer day where we get our friends and neighbors and we work with the disabled kids in our area. And so what we'll do is we'll have some service work, and then we'll also just have a celebration. Like we'll play fun music for the kids. We'll treat them with cookies and lollipops. We'll do fun painting projects. We'll blow bubbles, those giant bubble ones. We'll get drums and sing and play music. We'll also, for the younger ones, we'll get them coloring books and crayons and color pictures together. And so it's really fun. It's really, really fun.
How could
And we get the whole.
are you talking about financial support, or is that what you're saying, that we could target a financial support towards a volunteer day in your community? Would that be something you're thinking about?
Yeah, that would be amazing. That would be really amazing. We would love that.
What are the
We
specific
would love.
things you do on the volunteer days specifically for disabled kids that have to do with their disabilities?
So, what we do is there's a school that we work with in our village that specializes in working with kids that have mobility issues, kids who use wheelchairs, walkers, crutches, and um, so we spend time working with these kids. And so this involves doing service work like helping to clean the school, doing yard work at the school, raking leaves, um, picking up trash, just anything that they need. Even, things like serving food, painting, places that need a fresh coat of paint. And so, yeah, that's one of the things that we do.
I would love to see you write an article with some photos that we can put in our Galim. It may be too late to get into the high holiday one. I can check with Cindy. But otherwise, it comes out 4 times a year. And, we've known you and your mom, so we've been very curious as to, how your life has unfolded and what you're doing now and all the stuff that you told us initially about how you got to Uganda. So I think that would be fascinating for everybody. And then you could also, pitch what your organization does. I think that would be fantastic.
That's a great idea, Carol.
Yeah.
Great
that-
idea. So
Wonderful. Okay,
I
I
think
know.
Roz and Shoshana had already been cooking that up, but Carol,
Oh,
but I
good.
think you made it more specific in that you can, show us exactly what we can do and what that, if we were going to do a financial contribution, exactly what that was going to be for and how it would help you out. That should be part
I
of.
think the the article Shoshana and Cindy were already working on
Oh, they were,
is,
good.
it is, well, it wasn't like you just outlined. It was, Shoshana obviously and knows more about it than I do. I just suggested the idea, and it's one of the, what Mishkan kids have been doing since they grew up article. So
Where are
it'll be
they
in that
now?
format in the Galim.
Oh, that would be
And
cool.
I don't know, were you supplying, we already have a picture of you. Were there any other pictures, or was that just going to be a bio picture in that, Shoshana?
I I can send more pictures.
That would be great.
You know, I don't want to hog the whole
No, 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 no,
section.
no. I almost see this as a separate article, but maybe not. It would have to fit however it does.
None of this can be done without connection with Cindy.
Yeah.
My guess, without reference to her, is that we'd probably have to stick with the bio. She would probably want to stick with the what have kids been doing format for the Galim, which is pretty set up, I think. But Shoshana could ask her, you know, email her or whatever. But maybe a future Galim could have a more substantial article.
Yeah.
It
I
would
wonder
it would be up to Cindy, but I think it's a great idea.
Great
I
idea.
wonder if we could suggest a donation to another organization that may or may not fly, but you know, having people go to your website and learn more about what you're doing, and they can always donate from there. But you know, I mean, I see some of your Facebook postings and your family and some images of your village, and I love that sort of stuff. You know, it's so different from the life that we're all living in Santa Monica and Venice. I would love to see those pictures.
Yeah, yeah. It's life here in Uganda is very good. We live very close to our friends and our extended family. We live in harmony with the natural world around us. You know, we live in a culture that you know, is very different from the one that I grew up in. But you know, it's been really good. It's been really
Yeah.
good. It's definitely been I would say a healing journey for me.
Oh,
Shoshana,
that's great.
Shoshana, are you or your son considered citizens of Uganda?
No, we're not citizens. So we are residents. But we're not citizens. So I know that spouses are eligible to apply for citizenship after 5 years of residency. So I'm gonna see what other requirements are needed next year to see if I can get Ugandan citizenship. I would love to be a Ugandan citizen.
What about
Can you
But you
dual
are, of course,
citizenship?
still a citizen of the United States.
Yes, that is
Presumably.
right.
That's dual citizenship. Yeah.
So I have a question about donating. On your website, you can do snail mail donation to an address in Modesto, California.
Oh, yes.
that?
So we're registered both in the United States and in Uganda. And so the registry is at my uncle's house. But since I have you on the Zoom call, maybe you can email me, and I can give you a better address. I am going back to America in November for a conference. And so there's a better address if you wanted to send a snail mail donation.
Okay, well, you should update your website with a better address as well. So what does your uncle do when the checks arrive?
He helps make the deposit on behalf of our organization. But since I am going back to America pretty soon. Oh, wonderful! Thank you. Let me go ahead and save that and save your email. One moment.
What is your what's the best way to reach you by email? What is your email? Is that in the chat?
Yeah, let me put it in the chat right now. The email address is Tikvah Uganda @gmail.com. So it's
Gmail. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that's the one I already have, right? Where we've been emailing, is that correct?
Yes, correct. That's correct. And so yeah, I would love to.
Keep figuring out ways that you can connect Mishkan to you. I like that idea of a second article for the Galim that comes out probably in the winter to specifically be on your organization, what we can do. But also, this is just a personal bias. Do you have a song that you can sing to us in Ugandan?
No.
One of the prayers?
Okay.
Putting her on the spot.
Okay. So no, it's fine. Listen, I am a public speaker. I just got off of my speaking tour. I speak to synagogues. I often lead songs as part of the program. And so I definitely don't mind singing.
Okay,
So the Ugandan version of Hine Matov.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so there's a Hebrew section, and then there is a section in the tribal language.
Wow.
Okay, so it goes Hine Matov Umanahim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Laba Bueko Yokolunji Bueko San Yosa Apollo Ganda Okujula Hine Matovu Umanahim Shevetahim Gam Yachad.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shoshana, I am so impressed and moved by your story and by the light that you bring and your radiant smile, and by your having been brought up in the community here in Los Angeles and bringing what that gave you to Uganda and the community that is there. And I'm also very impressed with this. I never knew the story of Jews in Uganda. It's a very exciting story. It brings a really beautiful tapestry weave to the whole world of Jewish life. And I love, of course, music most. And I'm wondering if you can maybe have videos of some of the music that you use, which would be very interesting, I think, to Jewish people here in Los Angeles.
Especially our rabbi who loves to play guitar and sing. So Rabbi Josh will just love it.
So I do have some community members that are actually in the process of recording an album.
Wow. Great.
And that's going to be really amazing. Yeah. So that's going to be really, really amazing. I got to see a couple snippets of some music videos that they made. There's a lot of musical talent in the community.
So exciting if we could, some of those could be shared, because it's really empowering to hear
There is. So, since the project's not released yet, the music from that project is kind of under wraps since it's not officially released yet. However, there are other bits of music that
So
that
the song you were
have been-
singing when you did Himalato, when you went into the African, was that Lesoga or what language were you using?
So that was in Luganda, which is the biggest of the tribal languages here.
Luganda?
Yeah, Luganda.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the biggest tribal language here. Yeah, so um just to take it back to the history of Uganda, the largest tribe is called the Buganda tribe. And so they conquered most of what's now modern day Uganda before the British came. So when the British finally came, all they had to do was kind of co-opt the existing power structures. They didn't have to reinvent the wheel, basically. They made a deal with the king and they said, okay, well, we'll let you be the king, but you have to let us run everything.
When was that, roughly?
Oh, about 200 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at the height
and
of the
then-
British Empire then, yeah, more or less.
Yeah, so this was in the late 1700s. There was a lot of fighting
Right,
with the British and the kingdom, and then finally, when the British were going to take over, they made a deal with the king, and they said, well, you can still be the king, but you just have to let us run everything. And the king, his arm was
Yes,
twisted.
not
He
an
didn't have much of a
unusual
choice.
story, yeah.
You guys are
Yeah.
good negotiators. You should be working on Israel's behalf.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. I don't know if you guys know this, but I was with my husband and my son in Israel on October 7th.
Oh, no.
And
Oh,
that
no.
time it was so stressful, and
Yeah.
when it was, and we couldn't get any earlier flights. All the flights were taken, so we had to take our originally scheduled flight out of there. And when we finally left 3 weeks later, we were so relieved.
Yeah. How's your mom doing with that?
It's so she lives with this ongoing stress of not knowing when the siren's gonna come, when a bomb's gonna go off. And one day I was talking to her, and she said, well, if there's no sirens this afternoon, I might go to the gym.
Wow. So you adapt.
Didn't
So
you
she-
hear yourself? You were
she is-
basically saying, oh, if my town doesn't get bombed.
So your mom's living in Naharia?
Yes.
So
On
she
the
has not been,
far northern coast.
they have not been evacuated yet, like many of the other
Good.
towns.
No, but here's the thing. Here's the thing about the whole evacuate, not evacuate. If the IDF has decided that war is coming, like a full-fledged war is coming, they might not give a clear and definite evacuation order to the remainder of the northern towns.
Mm.
They might not say, because isn't that like saying, "Hey, Hezbollah, we're gonna escalate the war."
Right, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but of course there's that balance because you don't want to be in a place that's going to be under heavy fire either.
They might not say that. So I asked my mom. I said, "Hey, Mom, are you gonna be one of the ones that has to wait to get told to evacuate, or are you gonna, keep your wits about you and be a couple steps ahead of the game on this?
Yeah.
What did she say?
Well, that she wants to be a couple of steps ahead of the game on this.
Has she talked about
It's a horrible situation. It's a horrible situation. That the vast majority of people in Lebanon don't want a war with Israel. They don't see any material benefit of having a war with Israel.
Right. Right.
Even though they don't like Israel, they like their town. They still like their town and don't want their town to get bombed.
Yeah.
And so they don't see that. Most people in Lebanon don't want this war. Most people in Lebanon don't see any benefit. I don't, if it wasn't for Hezbollah, that this war would not be happening.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Well, my dear, it's been a wonder. Do you have anything else you'd like to say, or are there any other questions that you have for Shoshana? I would, on behalf of adult education. Go ahead.
I do actually want to take you through. So what I would like to do is see if I can invite some of you to another Zoom call that I'm having with another community, because I do want to give you guys the chance to actually go through my slides and the different points and see the visual images, and get the
When will that call
and
be?
get more of an organized explanation of Jewish life in Uganda. And so I do want to invite you guys on another Zoom call
That would be great.
I'm going to have in the future.
Yeah, that'd be great. Can you tell us where, when, and how we can access the Zoom call?
Yes, I will.
It might be something that they would be interested in also. This would be a great social action project, I think, but it's up to Sandy and the committee. But yeah, this would be great. It could be really good, Shoshana. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for
my
reaching out to us.
pleasure.
I'm glad we finally got it set up and accomplished.
So right now, what time is it?
10:20.
10:20. Let her go already.
Yes. Yasher Koach
Yeah.
from all of us. Thank you. Thank you.
Say
Thank
hello
you.
to your husband and your son.
Yeah.
And to Sandra.
Yeah, we want to see lots of pictures.
Sure. I'll send my regards.
All right. Thank
Bye,
you, sweetheart.
everyone. I love you guys.
Bye. Thank you, guys. Have a beautiful Sunday.
You get off.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yes.